Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is Dr. Levi with your show, The Dr. Levi Show. Today is the last day of January 31st, 2017. It's an absolutely beautiful day here in Los Angeles, so I hope wherever you are today, you're making it a great day. I love getting up, coming to the show because it really just awakens all of these feelings of consciousness about what can I do to be a better person? What can I do to bring about a show that manifests the best good in all of us? It's all about really living a life of gratitude and knowing that every day is a gift. And it really, really is. I want you to walk away from this show feeling invigorated about life. I want you to think about your resolutions for the year because I want to talk about that. And I also want to give you some updates about one resolution that I made to myself that I've been pretty good about. So I'm feeling good about it, and I want you to feel good about you. I want to tell you about our extraordinary guest that we have on today from Students Deserve, Alexis Keys. She's with us to talk about life, to talk about what Students Deserve is about. I think it's a great campaign. I think it's a great push forward to really raise awareness about how we deal with the school system in our society. But more importantly, it's about where does the money go in the school system? Where does the money go? We have to have those paper trails to let us know that money that we're giving, that we're paying in taxes, is it doing what we want it to do? And I say that not in a way to incite any adversity. No, I say it because I want you to be aware. I want us to have an understanding about where the money is going. And if it's not going where we think it's going, then what are we going to do about it? So with that said, I want you to know it's important that you use your voice. Use the power of the pen, the power of your voice to make a change. And you do that by writing to your congressional congresspeople, your local representatives, but don't simply be silent. Don't be a bystander. You know, bystanders are sort of like the triad of bullying. There's the bully, the bullied, and the bystander. All of those have the same culpability, because no one's doing anything to make a change. So if you're a bystander, I say to you today, take a stand. Do something different. Do something different to make a difference. Because we know if you do the same things, well, you get the same results. So if things are not going the way you think they should, if money you believe is being diverted into areas that are shadowy and not appropriate, and where students are not benefiting, well, we have to speak out. We have to say something. And the wonderful thing about Students Deserve, and with Alexis Keys, who's here with us, she's going to give us really insights into what the organization does, why it does, and why it's a sustainable platform to bring about change. We really have to make these paradigmatic changes in life to be better. If you keep doing the same, you get more of it. That's our goal today of understanding, change things up. If you want to be better in music, well, get a different music teacher. Get someone to teach you something different. If you want to be an extraordinary artist, well, no matter what media that you use, maybe do something different. Change things up. Change and transition make us better. And why do we want to be better? So that we can be of greater service. It's all about giving, 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 and living on that solid, certified platform of gratitude. That's really what it's about. Now, let's give you a little bit of health news. I want to answer 4 specific questions that I got via email about diet and about life. I want to go to the diet question first. So one was about the Mediterranean diet and what were my thoughts about it. So I want to say the recent literature about the Mediterranean diet as well as the DASH diet is that they both are very, very effective with respect to losing weight and actually maintaining it and decreasing the risk for cardiovascular disease. The issue here when it comes to fitness is, why do you want to be fit? Well, you want to be fit to stave off issues of hypertension, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, stroke, heart attack, as well as different forms of cancer. So you have to be proactive and understand that the gym is where your body is. You can work out wherever you are. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to spend money for that. You can do push-ups, sit-ups, squats, air squats, crunch. You can do all that stuff at home. The goal is this. Are you doing the exercises as well as eating properly? So the DASH diet as well as the Mediterranean diet is really about a healthy balance. It's not about really focusing on the pescatarian diet or a vegetarian diet. There's such a cacophony of issues associated with diet and exercise. So to minimize the cacophony, what we want to do is really focus on something that works for your body. Focus on something that works for your life as well as your finances. It's really easy to do once you know what you're going to do. But the key is make a move. If you're moving, you're winning. Make a move. Do something different to increase the vitality of your life and to feel good about who you are, what you are, and more importantly, have a vision about where you want to go. That's the key, is understanding, hey, I love my body the way it is, but I want to do something different. Well, I want a 6-pack this year. I want a 12-pack. Great, you can do that. However, it's about action. It's not about this. Not the lip service. It's about using your body to make a difference, to make a change. I'm sure you can do it. I have faith in you. Your resolutions, you have to attack them in a way that works for your life. And when I say attack, gentle attack. Don't say, I got to do this, and if you fail, then feel bad about yourself. No. Remember, tomorrow's another day. Do it better the next day. If that doesn't work, do something different. Have an accountability buddy that works with you so that you can both work out together. There are ways of being fit and healthy, but you have to, 1, admit that it needs to be done. 2, it's about action. And then commitment, consistency, diet, and exercise. That's what we have to do. Now, I also want to share with you one issue that came up from a listener. She asked me about relationships and her feeling of not feeling wanted by her partner, who she said constantly tells her that she's overweight and she's not very pretty and that she needs to lose, 15, 40 more pounds. Okay, so as I told her via email, and I'll share with you, if you're not with someone who builds you up and loves you just the way you are and appreciates you just the way you are, then you may want to think about letting them go and waiting for the divine to open up the doors for the right person to come through. If you're in a relationship with someone who makes you feel less than, if you're in a relationship with someone whom you feel has to validate your existence, then guess what? That's not the right person. Because the right person is waiting for you to love you, to adore you, to give you strength, to bring you to where you want to go, to magnify your dreams so that your dreams are their dreams, to build up community with you, to welcome you with their family, to love you, to make love to you, to be with you. So if you're with someone who can't make you feel warm and adored and loved, then guess what? Love them from a distance. It's okay to say bye to people and to do it with love, compassion, and forgiveness. But you have to say bye to them. Think about it. If someone doesn't love you and appreciate you just the way you are and doesn't give you a feeling of self-acceptance, guess what? They're transferring to you how they feel about themselves. It's really not about you. It's like if you go out with someone who's always asking you, are you cheating on me? Are you cheating on me? Are you doing this? They're asking you those questions because they're the perpetrating. They're doing these things, but they're transferring it to you so they can feel better about themselves. So I want you to know today to really look at your life, look at where you are, and if someone's not building you up, then lovingly let them go. It's okay to be alone. You know what? Actually, if you think about it, when you're alone, you really have the great opportunity to be the best possible version of yourself. You really do, because then you can go into an introspective place and love all of you. Every freckle, every dimple, every fat area, every scar, you can love all of you. And why not love all of you? Guess what? There's only one of you in the entire universe. How spectacular is that? So love you and love yourself and appreciate you just the way you are. So I had to share that with you. So to Jana, I told you I wouldn't say your last name, and I didn't. But to Jana, again, I want to say, love all of you, Jana. I really appreciate your email. It was a lengthy email, but guess what? I read all of it. And I read it because I thought it was so important to remind you that you validate yourself. You don't need your boyfriend to validate you. No, you don't. You're perfect just the way you are. You are enough, Jana. Jana, you are enough. I want you to feel that and believe it. I want you to breathe that in. You are enough. Now, I also want to share with you guys one of my resolutions was to to do two things that I said I would do, and I've been doing it really well, and that is to turn off my phone and to do no social media or anything 2 to 3 days per week. So far, I've been very good about it because I'm really attached to my phone at my hip, but lately, I've done it. Now the goal is, will I continue? Hopefully I will, but I wanted to give you an update. I've been sticking to it, and I hope you are also. I reminded everyone, it's so important every week to take a social media break. Your mind needs it. I call it a media fast. For 24 to 48 hours, no TV, no Netflix, no phone, nothing. Just to decompress and to get a focus about where you want to go, where you are right now, and how do you get this map to get to a different place in your life. The bottom line is, with our lives, you live your life. So you have to make the change. You have to do what's different and what's needed to make your life more loving, more wonderful, more fantastic. And guess what? When you're ready, the right people will show up. And all the people that bring the shadows and the hatred and the shadiness, they'll just lovingly dissipate and go away. Why? Because the darkness can never stand where there's light. There can only be one or the other, and the light will always dominate by definition. So I want you to carry the light, feel good about yourself, and also to continue to think about taking a media fast 1 or 2 days per week. I think it will help you tremendously. Now, let's talk about our wonderful guest, and let's talk about Students Deserve, and let's talk about the wonderful, amazing, spectacular, bootstraps to the ground, making things happen, Alexis Keys. Thank you, Alexis,
Hi.
for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We have so much to talk about. So tell us about Students Deserve.
Okay, so Students Deserve is actually a majority student-led organization, mostly high school students, although we have some middle school students. And we're fighting for the end of random searches in schools, which is how I describe it. It's basically stop and frisk of students.
Yes.
LAUSD spends $67 million a year on policing, but at the same time claims it's a broke district.
Let's hear that again. So you're saying that the district actually has in its coffers every year $67 million for this.
Yes.
That is unbelievable.
Yes. But at the same time, we have a lack of resources for not only our teachers, but our students. We have old textbooks from the 80s. We don't have ethnic studies. We're cutting our arts programs. My school has 3,000 students, and we have one nurse 1 day a week. But we have money for police? I don't understand that.
Right. So your thoughts are really, where are the priorities with respect to student health?
Yes.
Student activities?
Yes.
And student education?
Yes. Students are not, people forget that students are whole people. And you have to treat whole people in a holistic way.
Absolutely.
So if you treat high school and middle school are some of the most formative, most impressionable years of your life.
Absolutely.
And if you tell kids that they are criminals by randomly searching them, they are going to believe you. So it's really a problem with priorities and the treatment of students. And what we're fighting for is a change in that culture. We want to promote trust between faculty and students and a proper allocation of money.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it seems like the Students Deserve is actually pushing forth the thought that there's a subversiveness about the issue of searching students, making them think or possibly feel that they're not simply less than, but possibly criminally minded.
Yes. And these searches, they called random searches, but they're really not random. They don't target magnet schools, and they target children that are black and brown students. So that's like racism in our schools. Surprise, surprise. But anyway, so magnet classes actually have to have 60% white students and 40% minority students. So at my school, my magnet never gets searched, but in the regular school, we're over 80% black and brown. So those are the classes that they search.
Those are real interesting demographics there, and it's really unfortunate. You know, I think our country right now is so extraordinarily divisive with respect to not only politics but also race. You know, I would hope that a program like yours, Students Deserve, would really be about building bridges between not only races but also politically, so that people are aware of what they're doing and how people are being treated. Because racism, if you really think about it, it's simply about how do we divide people, and not in a way that keeps them poorly educated, in a way that keeps them not understanding who they are or the value that they have.
Yeah.
And what I think your push here with Students Deserve is really about building bridges there, so that there's better communication, that there's a better understanding of who we are as a people, and that there's a recognition that we all are our brother's keepers. We're all the same. No matter what the texture or tone of your skin, we're all the same.
And it's about, actually making students believe that school is for them. Because if you look at the classes we have, like all history is like white history. We never learn about ethnic studies. And if you're not prioritized as a student, you're not going to feel like a student. And you're going to be like, well, this school isn't for me because people don't care about me. People are harassing me and randomly searching me. And that's not happening to the whole population of the school. So you feel less than.
But I want to know, are there statistics that really show which students are searched versus students that are not searched?
Yes.
There are statistics of that that show that.
Yes.
That's really unbelievable.
Yeah.
The other thing I think is extraordinary here is the fact that you're saying $67 million per year
on
for
policing.
LAUSD.
Yeah.
Those numbers are just...
It's bizarre.
I can't get that. It's almost $100 million.
Yeah. So we want community schools is for reallocation of this money. So our idea is if you're searching people, you're never going to find the weapon. You really aren't. There's just no chance of that. In the past 2 years, 10,000 hours of instruction time were lost to random searches. And the policy is that every school has to commit at like one search a day. And we have 960 schools in the district. So that's at least 960 searches occurring per day. Over 2 years of that, no guns were found and 37 weapons were found. One of which was a butter knife. Yes, butter knife, right? One of them was a butter knife. And the things that they're actually taking from students are things like highlighters, Sharpies. They're taking people's inhalers. They're taking people's sketchbooks, which is illegal, and they're not weapons. So there's no point to taking them.
How did your organization come about? Who were the first people to actually do the grassroots studies to say, this is needed and let's do this together?
Well, LANE, which is Los Angeles Alliance for a New Economy, started working with people in schools because this was a problem that students were complaining about. But it's hard to organize if you're students, especially if you're not given the resources in school, then you're not going to have them in your life. So LANE actually came in and helped us do this, but now it's mostly student-led.
Right. And what about funding? How do you guys get your funding? Do you do fundraisers? How do you do it? Yeah,
we have some donors that we look at. We write grants sometimes, but mostly we're kind of strapped for cash, but mostly we work on organizing. So it's like what we have student organizers that really try to educate the people in their schools, which was with a button campaign. And so in Dorsey, we actually had like over half of students wearing one of our buttons.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole high school?
Yeah. And then we ended up organizing in about over 30 schools. Wow. And the people that come to the coordinating committee are about maybe representatives from 6 schools. So that's been a really big accomplishment for us.
Have you had any politicians come on board or local leaders come on board to help you?
It's mostly parents. We actually went to the school board. There was a conference about this, a study session that the school board had about the topic of random searches. And my district member is George McKenna, and he is not on board.
Not on board.
Not on board.
And what are his reasons that he shared why he's not on board?
People have concerns about safety. They think that random searches keep people safe. But that's just simply not true.
Because you're saying there are studies that show that it's not true.
It's not true. And it keeps people, that's unsafe. If you're like going to be searched at any time, if your body is going to be violated, that's not safe. And if you're taking money away from programs that promote safety, that's not safe. So if we create a culture of trust, students will come forward when they have issues. If we have mental health services, we can prevent the problem before it happens.
Right. It's about trust, and also I think the overall arc for your organization is really about frank, honest, open communication.
Yes. And treating students like people.
And with equity.
Yes.
That everybody matters, no matter what their skin tone or their race or their religion. Everyone should be treated appropriately.
Yeah.
Now, what are the plans that students deserve to have with respect to, with respect to helping to diversify education?
Well, our goal for community schools is to get parent and student involvement and people from the community so that we have people that are actually involved and affected by the decisions involved in the decisions. And we're against charter schools, which is the privatization of schools.
And why do you think charters are such a bad idea? Because I would think that it helps to diversify education and someone's educational experience if their parents would like to put them in a charter school. Why do you think charter is not a good place?
Charters take away funding from LAUSD when we're already strapped for cash. And additionally, charters don't allow teachers that are in teachers' unions to teach. So the average turnaround is about 3 years, which is impossible to actually learn the school and become a seasoned teacher in 3 years. And then a lot of charter schools cohabitate other schools because they don't have their own campus.
Yes.
And that takes away funding and classrooms for the additional school. And a lot of them end up shutting down because they don't have money. Like there was a charter school where the parents and students found out overnight that they didn't have a campus anymore.
Like that?
Yeah. So it's not a secure learning environment, and it's a privatized environment. And so So
you think the privatization is the factor that has to be looked upon that needs to be changed?
Yes, because if you have like billionaires running your school, they turn it into an image thing for them and a business.
Right.
So if the school is not profitable, they either pull out or they prioritize like looks rather than focusing on the actual students.
That's very intriguing. What's your vision for Students Deserve? Where do you see this going? What's the impact you believe it will have?
We want to end random searches this year. We want to end that.
In 2018.
We want to end random searches
this year. I want to have you back
on
here in 2019 to see where that what happened. That's important to me.
Yeah. And we want ethnic studies, and we want police out of schools.
Period.
Because it doesn't make people safe. It's treating a school like a prison.
And do the students there in general actually feel that? When you talk to them, do they feel like it's a place of imprisonment?
Yeah.
That's such an extraordinary issue to me.
We wouldn't have that many people involved in our button campaigns if people didn't feel that way.
Right.
So if you're, like, imagine you're a black student like me or a brown student. On the news, you see yourself over-policed. All this rhetoric out there is telling you that you're a criminal. And if school is supposed to be a safe space for education, what you're actually learning is that what everyone is saying is right, and that's who you are.
Yes. Now, what about the Caucasian students who are there? Do they feel the same? Have you guys talked to them?
Well, they are actually searched less, so they don't feel the same impact.
And that's been proven now that they don't? Because I find that hard to believe that if all the students there are being searched, that even people that are non-black or brown would also feel that way because that intimidation stream would roll through the entire community.
Yes. No, most people, actually, we have what the student rep for the LA School Board goes to my school.
Yes.
And he's a white student, and he thinks that random searches are promoting safety at our school. But in reality...
That's what he shared with you specifically.
Yes, that he said that at the study session with the school board. But in reality, he's not feeling the same impact because it's not just the culture of fear, like, it's not contained to the school. So we've actually spoken to a lot of white students that don't agree with it. Right. But at the same time, if you're black and brown, it's compounded with what you see on the outside.
Got it.
So it's more, the stress and suffering and trauma is more contextualized there.
Yes.
And it's deeper.
For students of color, you say?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I would think that some of that same trauma is also shared by non-black students, even if it's not verbalized, but it has to be there. These are human beings also who see the mistreatment of other people. Yeah. So their compassion and empathy will also flow to see that.
Yeah.
Now, and what about this? What's the composition of Students Deserve with respect to which grades are involved more?
We have the most people leading Students Deserve are high school seniors. But those are just the chapter representatives, and we have people through all grades of high school, lots of 11th graders, lots of 10th graders, and then we actually have 2 schools, King Drew Middle School and another school that have middle school involvement. So we have people as young as 6th grade.
I think that's great because the one thing I was thinking of is, well, what happens when you graduate?
Yeah.
Where is that legacy of fortified platform standing? When you go, who's the next Alexis Keys?
Well, I mean, I'm not really the leader. We have
but you're involved.
Democratic, But so that's actually one of the things we focus on is bringing the underclassmen into it because especially if you're young, you feel disenfranchised and that your voice doesn't matter. Right. And we want to stop that narrative as soon as possible. So we want to tell them, look, you can do this.
Absolutely.
It's your school.
Right. And it's your life and it's your education.
Exactly.
Because education is really the jump-off point for really making your life different, as well as making the lives of your family and community different.
Yes. So we want to teach students that you don't have to buy into this narrative, and your voice does matter.
Absolutely.
And that's what one of the coalitions we're part of is Reclaim Our Schools, and that really gets to the bottom of it. It's your school. It's your education.
Yes.
You can't let these other people come in and dictate how the rest of your life is going to turn out.
I absolutely agree. What do your parents think about your involvement with Students Deserve?
Actually, I'm not really involved with my dad that much. And my mom works a lot.
Yes.
So it's not really a thing, yeah.
And what about your sister? How does she feel about your involvement?
My sibling is actually very involved with me. We are both involved in that organization together. And the best thing about this organization is it's really student-led and it's very democratic. So we get together and just sit in a circle and say, what should we do? How should we do it? And we appoint students to lead those organizations. And it's just everyone is supposed to be involved, because if you have a hierarchical organization, you create a culture where people are afraid to speak up or only certain people speak up.
Right.
And then you're limiting yourself to the amount of resources and ideas, because everyone has good ideas.
Everyone.
And if we had that type of organization, we would just be replicating what's happening in schools, where some people are like encouraged to not speak or intimidated to not speak. And so it would be hypocritical of us to like organize our organization like that. So we want everyone to be able to participate and everyone be able to contribute ideas.
And that's the way it should be. And what's the demographic racially of Students Deserve with respect to white, non-white, black, brown, red students?
We mostly have black and brown students. So a lot of black students and a lot of Latinx students. And then we do have students of all races, though.
Of course, that's important.
We have Asian students, we have white students, because it's everyone's issue, although it might be more historical for us, but it's an issue for everyone. And if everyone goes to these schools, it's missing funding for everyone.
Correct. And I think no matter what the race, education is important for everyone, as well as equity with respect to treatment.
We need
that
equal
you feel
opportunity.
Like exactly. That everyone has equal opportunity, and that everyone feels like they can achieve whatever they want to achieve, that they're not limited.
Yeah.
And they're not put in a box of that where you can only do this.
Yes.
I think that's really extraordinarily important. Now, what are the events that you have coming up?
Actually, we have an art show February 9th at Hamilton High School.
And that art show is really about just raising consciousness and awareness about Students Deserve, or is it a fundraiser also?
Well, it's about raising consciousness.
Got it.
But some donors will be there, and so if people want to donate, we'll put them in touch with how they're supposed to do it. But
and what's the date of that again?
February 9th at Hamilton High School, 4:30 p.m.
So next Friday.
Yes.
Got it.
And so this art show is not only about raising awareness, it's about healing for our students.
Yes.
And I believe that art has always been very important for activism. And if we have art pieces that are made individually by students, the people that come are allowed to engage with the cause in a new way, because it's an individually self-directed way of engagement, and you can really see the emotional impact. That's what we're trying to do, show the emotional impact, because you can list facts all you want, but it's really important how this affects people deeply.
Right.
And so if we have people from the community coming and just engaging with that art by themselves, they can contextualize that for themselves.
I agree with you. You know, one thing I've always said about art is I've always believed this. I have some prose that I wrote maybe 8 or 9 years ago that I've always felt like the artists of society, that they hold the heart and consciousness of society, because they show us the beauty and the peace in everything. You know, art is a way, I think, that we tap into the real persona of who we are, what we are, and where our passions are. Because I think just color alone, looking at different colors, or maybe no color at all, or just black and white, I think these things tap us on a soulful heart place where we get to know that art brings out the beauty in everything.
It's very primal, like very primal. Humans have been creating art since we became human. And I believe that art is a great equalizer. Like people just sitting around making art together, like it gets rid of, I think, the social hierarchy a little bit.
Oh, it takes away any elitism. It takes away any divisiveness.
Yes, if done right.
If done right, exactly. It brings everyone together to sit at a community table versus having a wall there where you can look at someone, appreciate them, appreciate what they're doing, and be appreciated.
Yeah, so I believe that all humans are artists, and we've kind of forgot that fact. as we've moved into, this age where everything is commodified and everything.
It's capitalized.
Yes. And I think art is, a good vanguard against complete capitalization.
I think art, be it a musician or a dancer or a sculptor or writer, I think it all is about the heart of the society. It tells us who we are and where we're going. Because if you look at history in general, every artist, poet or writer, that snapshot in time where they live gives us a snapshot in time about how society was.
Yeah.
When you look at a picture that's drawn by someone today versus someone drawn, 50, 70 years ago, it tells you about how they were feeling and what was going on in society.
I believe that art is the purest form of communication.
Without a doubt. I agree. And I think art as well as music, I've always thought those two things.
I think they're both the same.
Yeah. I agree with you that they bring us to a better place for ourselves. They really do.
I think it's very spiritual.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. I also want to say, too, that, an organization like yours is not only about raising consciousness, but really letting people be aware of where the money is going.
Yes.
$67 million
$67 million a year on policing.
That is just, it's mind-boggling to me.
And so LAUSD, we're actually in a coalition with UTLA, which is the Union of Teachers in Los Angeles, because the school board has tried to come for teachers' health care. They're trying to cut their pay.
You think, how is that fair?
Exactly.
How could that be fair that teachers, one of the most noble professions that we have, one of the most noble, would get paid less, be valued less than?
Because of police. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I have to agree. It's sort of beyond. It really,
it's
really
like
is.
An assault. Like
pretty much.
Police to me are the opposite of what a teacher should be.
Well, I would say this. I think police serve a great, phenomenal, noble purpose also. I think if used inappropriately, the way they're used here, I don't think that's good. But I can't slam police. I think what they do and the amount of stress they have in their lives, and I take care of many of them, I think they're phenomenal men and women. However, if they're used inappropriately, I think that's the issue that Students Deserve has, and I have with you. I agree with you.
Well, I think that this country uses police inappropriately. So I have a problem with the policing culture of this country in general. But to me, just assaulting students and degrading them and taking their things is really not conducive to education. And it hurts teachers too, because it disrupts the entire class when you come in, and then you have to readjust the class. And that's just difficulty that teachers don't need, especially when we have 45 student classes and impacted classes and teachers getting pig slipped. That's not something that you can teach, an environment that you can teach in.
Of course not. Now, I'd like you to give us a reference point for what happens when someone comes in to search the class, because you've been there. So
yes.
I want you to take us through so we can actually visually feel and see what you're going through.
Okay. So actually, I know I've been searched, and I know a lot of people that have been searched, and they conduct them in different ways. When I was searched, I was in 6th grade, so I was 11. They just came into my class and just said, okay, you, get out of class.
Randomly?
Yes. And that can be embarrassing, first of all.
Oh, of course.
You don't know what's going on. Everyone thinks you're in trouble, or the police are there. They think you've done something wrong. And B, the whole class is like, wait, what the heck?
Right. What's happening?
Yes. And then everyone as soon as you leave, everyone's like, what was going on? And the teacher can't get the attention of the class. So they took me outside into this, they took us outside of the class and walked us to this small room. And then I think there were 5 or 6 of us. And they made us put our backpacks on the table. And then they asked us to take things out of the bag first. And then they went through the bags, unzipped everything. I think they took my Sharpie and my scissors. And I didn't know, I'm an 11-year-old, and I'm like, okay, I just assume that this is normal.
Wow.
And we've had other students, my friend Genevieve, they took her art sketchbook, and she's an artist, and they took her art sketchbook. Or they can come into class, and actually, it's teachers and administration that are supposed to be conducting the searches, which would make the trust issue even worse. But they're actually violating their own policy because police come in and conduct the searches.
I don't have any words for this, everyone. I'm in shock.
Yeah.
I don't have any searching a 11-year-old child.
I know a girl who the police got called on her when she was in 2nd grade because she had the Flintstones gummies, and they were like, that's drugs. And they called her to the principal's office and everything. And actually only 4% of districts in the country have random searches. And those districts are all majority of minority ethnic students.
It's really I don't really have, it's just too much.
Yeah. We call it the school to prison pipeline is what it is.
Wow. Yeah, well, something needs to be done. This needs to be changed. Now, I think schools need to be safe, of course.
Yes.
This can't be the right way to go about it.
No, it's not. We want to promote, actually, in Dorsey, they have a safe passage program because a lot of kids, the reason that you bring weapons is you're afraid to go to school. If there are gangs in school or your walk to school is scary, you might want to defend yourself. So what Dorsey has implemented, and the Watts Fatherhood Program is another similar program, where alumni and adults actually stand on the streets and the blocks on the route to school.
Wow.
So that kids feel safe and like they're looked after.
Yes.
So we want things like that and not an unpredictable
search.
Yeah. Which doesn't help anything.
No, it can't help anything, especially coming into from second grade to sixth grade to disrupt everyone. Yeah. But there's something else you said that really, really bothered me was the fact that you have a group of police officers, or one or two even, to come into a classroom and then randomly choose.
Yes.
That feels so wrong to me.
Yeah.
I can't. There's no reference point for that where it feels okay. That doesn't feel okay.
And it's just clearly ineffectual. Like, that's the best you could come up with, randomly picking people. Right. Of course you're never going to solve a problem.
Of course not.
Of course not.
If you got 45 children in a class and you pick out the 6, okay, what about the other 39?
And you just shouldn't be searching people in general.
I'm with you there.
Students should not be treated as a danger to the rest of each other.
I totally agree with you there. I think that I think there has to be a system, and I'd have to really think about how to do this too, whereby, you can be screened when you get to school. I think that's fine, to be screened, to make sure that everyone's not bringing something there that they should not have. But I don't know any study about that says the effectiveness of that either.
Yeah, it's really not effective.
Right.
And if you look at the schools that have
like
shootings,
metal detectors,
like Sandy Hook or anything, Hook, they don't institute these policies after, but it never happens again. Like, the occurrence of school shootings is so minute in percentage of things that happen at school. And what we want to change is, instead of screening students or patting them down, we want to promote a culture of trust.
Right.
Safe passage programs, restorative justice programs, mental health programs that are accessible and understandable for students. Like, we have a couple counselors on our school for mental health, maybe 1, 2, 3.
For the whole school of 3,000?
Yes.
That's not a lot.
And our school, most of the students don't know that it exists. It people need to be educated about where to go. Like, we have a stigma around mental health, and I think mental health is just like physical health. Mental health doesn't start at catastrophe, is what I would like to say. It's constant upkeep. It's just like your physical health. You need to be paying attention to it all the time. And if students aren't educated about this, then you're never going to have no one's going to utilize the resources, no matter how small they are.
Now, what students deserve, what are they doing to actually let people know about that? Because to me, it should be fairly easy to do via social media.
Yeah.
To let people know that these are facilities that you can use that can help you if you have any struggles with mental health or physical health, because you do want to optimize their physical and mental health. So what are you guys doing to let people know about that?
Well, that's what we're really part of, two coalitions, Reclaim Our Schools and Students Not Suspects. And so we're really trying to change the culture of that. Mm-hmm. And what we've talked to the school board and other community members about how we want to do that. Right. So that's one of the ways that we want to do that. Okay. And so you can find us on reclaimourschoolsla.org or Students Not Suspects. And for Reclaim Our Schools, we're part of, we are in a coalition with LANE, which is Los Angeles Alliance for a New Economy, American Federation of Teachers, UTLA, which is the Teachers Union in Los Angeles, Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment, and the Center for Popular Democracy. Yes. And then in Students Not Suspects, we're there with Black Lives Matter, who does a lot of good work with us. We're there with ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, the Youth Justice Coalition, and Public Counsel. And Public Counsel has been an organization since 1970, and they're the biggest pro bono legal company in the world. I mean, yeah, in the country.
That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, so they provide free legal services.
Now, and what about your Students Deserve in general? What do they do for other outreach programs, you know, to get the younger children involved and younger students involved?
Well, that's what the conferences are about.
Oh, okay.
So we had a youth summit on the 4th and 5th, where we invited people from a lot of different schools, and we kind of gave them a breakdown of our organization and actually a brief education of things that we don't learn in schools.
And what was the response?
We got more schools involved in our program.
That's really
And
great.
so in May, we had an event where we had 400 people.
Yes.
And then we're pushing towards our February 24th conference, and our goal is to have 1,000 people. And the founder of Black Lives Matter is going to be there. Common is going to be there. So really, it's really grassroots organization.
Right.
It's like the classic form of organization. Right. Because on Instagram, we ended up getting threats from alt-right people. So mostly we'll like post things and then we'll have people contact us for information about it. But most of it is just students going to talk to other people in their school.
Well, I think that's a great way to do it, but I also think it's great that you guys are using social media, because social media is a platform whereby you get access to everyone on the planet almost.
Yeah,
you know?
So our social media is LA_Students Deserve on Instagram. And
Say that one more time a little slower.
LA_Students Deserve on Instagram, and the same thing on Facebook. LA_Students Deserve.
Fantastic. Now, for yourself, what do you see yourself doing once you graduate from high school?
I definitely want to stay in, like, this is something that's really passionate for me. Like, I don't know, a lot of people say, like, your purpose in life, that's no real thing or anything, but this is something where I really feel at home.
Yes.
Like, you know, so many people, it's so rare for someone to find a place like that sense of really belonging.
Right.
And I can't really explain it, but this is something that I can see myself doing for the rest of my life. Because I've always been a very outspoken person. Like my mom said, even when I was little, I would like, you know, yell at kids for not sharing or something. And I've definitely become a little bit more restrained in that regard. But I'm just that kind of person. And then I might want to be a musician.
Right. What about law? Because for some reason when you were here talking, I was thinking she'd just be an amazing litigator, an amazing counselor.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I have the temperament to be a lawyer.
Oh, I think you do.
Because I get pissed off a lot.
Right.
But I do find law very interesting. Like sometimes
is.
I read like constitutional cases or something, and I think it's important to know, especially if you're in a system where you're disadvantaged and you don't know your rights. So, but I don't know if I could see myself in that career.
Really? Yeah, I have a sister. She's an attorney. And she's an entertainment attorney. And she's just a phenomenal woman.
Yeah,
both of my sisters are. But
I have a family friend that's a civil rights lawyer, and she works with prisoners from Rikers, and I think that's really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, so I think for you, whatever you choose to do, I can tell you this, it's going to be successful.
Thank you.
And I also know this, whatever you choose to do will open up roads for service and for empathy for other people to really understand that they have to get involved to make a change and not be a bystander.
Yes. I think apathy is a really big problem in this country. And especially I experienced that culture, and a lot of people that I talk to that are in the activist community experience that culture in Los Angeles. Because I believe that the liberal city idea is a myth. We have all the same issues here. It's just more subversive and hidden. And so people think, oh, you know, it's okay. We don't have any problems here because I'm in LA. So they don't want to worry about it. Like, actually, LAPD is the most murderous police district in the country.
Is that a true?
Yes.
That's a
statistic.
True statistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 300 people in the last 5 years and over 120 people in jails and holding cells that we don't know. But you see very low involvement around these issues. And I think it's because of that culture, like, oh, we're liberal, you know, we don't have to worry about it, which I think we need to change. Because even if you're a liberal, progressive, leftist, whatever you want to have, there's still issues. You can't deny that there are issues. So I think it's almost my duty to get involved.
Well, it is. I think it's our duty, because if we want to make change, you know, Gandhi said it so well, be the change you want to see in the world. So we have to be involved. We have to do something about it and not just look. You know, you were just a great guest.
Thank
I really
you.
want to thank you. So what are the ways that people can contact you via your social media or via the social media for Students Deserve? Can you tell that to everyone?
Yes, so LA_Students Deserve on Instagram, LA_Students Deserve on Facebook, and if you want to reach out to me by email, it's Alexis Keys, ALEXIS, and then BLM@gmail.com.
Great, because you're available for motivational speaking. You're available to talk about your platform.
Yeah, I really want to promote Students Deserve as a group of people. So
Absolutely.
if you want to come to our events, come to our conference, I would really encourage that.
And again, you have the event on February 9th at Hamilton High School
4:30.
at 4:30. And then you have, what about the other upcoming events after
We
that?
have a conference on February 24th where we're trying to get 1,000 people from the community around schools because they're affected by what happens in schools too. Parents, students, anyone that wants to come and learn about this issue, February 24th.
Okay, and where would that be again?
We haven't locked down a location yet, but follow us on social media and you will know.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, Alexis Keys, pretty extraordinary young woman who really reminds us all to get involved, to be a part of the change that we want to see, and to more importantly, to use our voices, to use the power of the pen, but get involved. You know, and it's really about what she really is the epitome of, and that is activism and advocacy. So I really appreciate you. You were just amazing,
Thank you for having
Alexis.
me.
Thank you so much. Well, this is Dr. Levi. I want to thank everyone for their help. I want to thank my amazing assistant, Deborah, and I want to thank the great Tony Sweet also for being here as an engineer, because I can't do it without them. I'm grateful for their care and for their trust and for their belief in the platform that we're building here. So this is Dr. Levi. Please join me on all my social media platforms, of course. It's simply my name, drleviharrison.com, Dr. Levi Harrison. Join me on IG, Twitter, Twitch TV, as well as YouTube, Facebook. I'm there. Any questions? I'm here to help you. Have a great week. Remember, be kind to the veterans. Those women and men are the real heroes of our society, and they help us to keep our sustained freedoms. Have a great week, everybody. Remember, Students Deserve. Go to the website. Bye.